Gentlemen, today we're dispatching 4 Thunderbolts to hit transport and road facilities near the city of Bonn. Canadian Spitfires from 403 Squadron will provide top cover. Weather is low overcast with snow and localized fog. Good luck. Welcome to Y-29 Airfield in Belgium, and welcome aboard my P-47 Thunderbolt. We're going to be taking off straight away here, it seems, so I will explain a little bit more about what's going on here once we're in the air. So, mixture auto rich, prop full forward, intercoolers to neutral. Very quickly extend the flaps on the takeoff roll. These guys haven't given me very much time here. I'll worry about the oil radiator once we're in the air. Got plenty of speed, up we go. Flaps and gear can come up actually right away because we're right up through 150 miles an hour. So that's all good. Shut the cowl flaps. Actually, oil radiators were in the neutral position and they can probably stay there, so that's just fine, and I'll try and form up with these guys. Anyway, since I was rudely interrupted by the need to take off, I'll get back to what I was on about before. Welcome to a new career in the P-47 Thunderbolts in IL-2 Battle of Bodenplatte. Although, the aircraft we're flying today is the P-47 D-22. We have a mixed squadron of D-22s and D-28s, and the D-22 is from Battle for Normandy, but, in any case, that is what we're going to be flying. And this career is also not being done through the standard career mode. I'm using Pat Wilson's campaign generator in the hopes of maybe getting some slightly more realistic missions out of it. We'll see how that goes. Usual rules apply in that it will be an Iron Man career. If I'm killed or captured, that will be the end. Or if it goes on for a really long time and I start to get sick of it, I may end it at my own discretion, just be forewarned about that. We'll see though. I'm not actually sure what my correct spot in formation is, so I might just stay well astern for a while and let the rest of the guys form up and just go wherever I'm supposed to be. I think I'm supposed to be tail and Charlie in this formation, but we'll see. In terms of the historical side of this career, it's currently the 1st of February 1945, and that winter weather is still very much with us. Although the thaw is probably coming before too long. We're almost in between two major, relatively famous ground actions during the war. We're sort of towards the end of the Allied counteroffensive after the Battle of the Bulge, but we're not yet up to, well, for example, the major assault crossing of the Rhine, Operation Plunder, won't be happening until the last week of March. So we're in a sort of in-between period right now. The Americans will somewhat famously reach the Ludendorff Bridge at Remagen on the 7th of March, but that's still more than a month away. There is an Allied presence in Germany at this point. We'll be flying relatively close probably to Aachen on this mission, which was captured after about a month and a half of brutal street fighting in September and October of '44. And I believe the airfield there is actually being used by our side as well, but we're not based out of there. At least not for the moment. As mentioned in the briefing, our target for today is going to be enemy motor transport around the city of Bonn, which is the future capital of West Germany, but that's probably about enough clairvoyance from me for now about the future course of events, because clearly I would not know about that at this time. Okay, so where's this chap going? If he forms up on Leeds right, then I will form up on his left to adopt that sort of finger four formation. And I think that will be more or less correct. Strictly speaking, because I'm a wingman in this flight, I won't have to be doing very much self-navigating, at least to the target. If they sort of leave me behind at the target and I have to make my own way back, then that will be its own thing. But I have fitted the aircraft with the Bendix ADF system, so even if I get completely lost, I should be able to find my way back to base. I don't think there's a whole lot that I can really add to that, so I might just carry on forming up with these guys and head for the target with them. Fighter escort overhead just called out that they're engaging a fighter. At least that's, I think, who I heard that from. Yeah, which should be those Spitfires overhead there. Little bit of a fantastic coincidence on this mission, but our fighter escort today is being provided by 403 City of Calgary Squadron Royal Canadian Air Force, which is, you know, kind of the hometown squadron of the city I grew up in, and also the namesake of my old debt squadron. So hopefully they can give good service for us. I have rather high expectations of them, with that being the case. Haven't seen any Germans myself. To be honest, if this career is even halfway historical, we'll be lucky if we ever see a German aircraft. That's just kind of the nature of things. This isn't necessarily because it's flying P-47, or really any Allied fighter in the late war, is going to necessarily be somewhat more air-to-ground focused than air-to-air, and I've more or less done that on purpose, because I find ground pounding in the P-47 to be a pretty interesting subject. I certainly do it quite a bit in my own sort of sessions and multiplayer and that kind of thing. Anyway, if we do happen to be bounced by the enemy, I will come back. Picking up a little bit of flak. I presume we're more or less crossing the... Actually, no, we're well behind the front line here, so we might just be happening to fly over a particular German battery at this point. I guess the one protecting that town. If I were you guys, I would maybe do at least a little bit of jinking to try and avoid that, and you might have noticed just then that we're having a little bit of pop-in with the custom skins that the rest of the formation is using. Not a lot I can do about that, but those are from the skin pack for Pat Wilson's campaign generator, so we do have correct historical skins on our Thunderbolts here. That was a big part of why I wanted to use PWCG for this. Those are tracers, guys. I'm not gonna fly straight and level while the rest of you get popped. Sorry. I might just break formation a little bit, because we're flying right over this Jerry airfield here. Probably actually be a great target of opportunity if we were in a bit more of a free hunting armed reconnaissance mode. Who knows, if I have some ammo left over after we've hit our primary target, maybe I'll shoot it up on our way back. But for the moment, I'm just going to try and not make myself an easy target. once we're out of all that junk being shot at us, I think I can more or less resume. I could talk a little bit about engine management, I guess. We've been back at about 32-ish inches of manifold pressure and 2250 RPM, which is the maximum setting to have the mixture pulled back to auto lean, according to the manual. And you don't want to use a lean mixture at too high a power setting to avoid detonation or knock in the engine, which can cause cylinder damage and all manner of other unpleasantness. That being said, I've never experienced that within IL-2, so I think it's relatively forgiving, that the game is relatively forgiving of that, but in real life, obviously, it's a major concern, so whenever we do throttle up to attack the target, we'll be going back into auto-rich on the mixture, because in the P-47, we have auto-rich and auto-lean, and we use idle cutoff to shut down the engine, and would only use full-rich in an emergency where the automatic feature stops working, so that makes it relatively simple to manage in an airplane where engine management is otherwise pretty complex. Because we do have 3 different radiators, plus throttle prop and mixture, plus the turbocharger, although if we're going to be operating at mostly low altitude in this career, we may not use the turbo very much. If we get the opportunity to, maybe I'll explain the nuances of that a little bit, but probably not a ton to say about it right now. We should be pretty close to the target. Okay, well, we've just been given the order, patrol for ground targets on your own, and that is indeed the city of Bonn down there. So I will take that as an excuse to break formation, I guess. I haven't seen number 4 in a while. I think he might have aborted and returned to base, or potentially even been shot down by that flak. I didn't actually see, though, for sure. Anyway, if these guys dive on a given target, then maybe I'll just follow up. I can also look at the map. I don't have an icon for my own aircraft, but there are for some friendlies and enemies because of the nature of the radar coverage mechanic, so I do still need to actually navigate myself. Okay, our target is notionally immediately next to this road bridge here. And I do indeed see motor transport down there, so you know what? I'll let them make their runs and then I'll come in and make my own. We will go to maximum continuous power. I shouldn't need any kind of boosted power for this. And I will drop my bombs on that transport column there. Definite risk of collateral damage on this one because the enemy column is right between some houses, but that's hard luck, I guess. Anyway, in we go.
Rejoin formation and continue with the mission. Out.
You guys can leave me behind if you want. Okay, I don't actually see any vehicles there. Is it immediately after the bend in the road that that transport column was? Yeah, I don't see any vehicles now. Okay, circle back up and see what I can spot. Don't lose too much speed in the climb. There are probably at least some guns down there. Okay, I see one burning vehicle. Anything intact around that corner? No, actually. Oh, I do see at least one vehicle. I don't know if that's worthy of the bombs or not, but I do kind of need to get rid of them for the return trip to base anyway, so... Bombs away! They're on 2-second fuses, so we shouldn't blow ourselves up there. And that went straight into a house rather than the intended target. Okay. Well, I'll come back around again and strafe that vehicle if that didn't get it. And I think the formation has probably left me behind by now, so I might be self-navigating home. That's okay, shouldn't be a problem. To do that... level off, probably below 2,000 feet for a strafing run. I didn't check what the winds are, and that can make a difference. Oh, I do see a vehicle. Oh boy. Trying really hard to accelerated stall there. Okay, we've got a half-decent shot at that truck there. Woo! And that went up like the 4th of July, so, gonna guess that was probably an ammo truck. And I did see another one on the road aligned with the bridge, so I'll shoot that up, and if I can't see anything else, then I'll head back to base. In hindsight, this road bridge right here might actually have been a better target for my bombs if the enemy is plainly using it, and it's the only one in town, but... oh well. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'll try to roll in aligned with the road and see if I can spot that vehicle. There it is. A little bit hard to see, kind of camouflaged against the road because it's painted gray. I think my bullets might have been slightly off on that one. I think it might be smoking but not completely destroyed. I'll make one more run and then I'll head home. Climb to about 1,500 feet. Try and do a relatively shallow strafe. It'll have to be a bit steeper than usual because of the high buildings around the intended target. Because we certainly don't want to hit those. And yeah, I don't see any sign of the rest of my flight, so I'll be self-navigating home. That's okay. With the Bendix ADF, it's really quite easy, and, you know, not to blow my own trumpet, but I think in previous series I've demonstrated my navigation abilities reasonably well. And can also point to my scores on the commercial pilot written exam, just saying. Anyway, aim slightly left this time. I wonder if that's an armored vehicle. Well, it's smoking. One more path. I can't resist. Want to make sure I get it. I haven't quite actually been able to positively identify what vehicle that is. I'm not sure if it's a truck or a half-track or a light tank or something. Periodically checking my tail, just in case there are actually any German fighters up here. Seems unlikely, but you never know. I'll maybe give myself a slightly longer run-up this time. Try and get aligned on the target. Need to keep my feet off the rudder pedals and align with it using aileron if I can. Right, in. Target acquired, feet off the rudder pedals. Aim slightly left to compensate for the wind, I think. Woo! Very close to the chimneys there. What is that? I'm beginning to think that might be a tank. So in that case, I might actually attack it from the other direction in order to hit it from the rear. I'm thinking it's maybe something small, like a Panzer II or something. But, the replay will tell all. Whatever external views I've edited into this will no doubt reveal what that actually is. Yeah, it is a relatively pretty city, it must be said. I'm kind of slightly remorseful that I accidentally bombed a house, but, you know, so it goes. There we go! Now whatever that was blew up. Maybe it was actually just a truck and I've been missing it all this time. Anyway, that's about all in terms of motor transport targets that I can see down there, so I think I'm content to return to base. I'll climb out generally to, well, let's have a look at my map actually. Egress, heading towards the egress waypoint is 259, although I don't necessarily feel too obligated to follow the flight plan very closely, but we'll see. I'm not picking up anything on the Bendix ADF just yet. It is a line of sight system, more or less, so there might be some terrain in the way, so I'll probably have to navigate a little bit manually on the way back, but that's okay. Probably navigational checkpoint will be this town here. I should be able to find that without too much difficulty. And unless the next words when I come back are "I'm lost," I think I should be able to self-navigate back to base without too much trouble. Just briefly checking in again with a little point of interest. Our route that I've chosen back to base is taking us directly over Aachen Airfield here. And the city of Aachen is over there, and I talked about the battle that happened there back in September and October of 44. Aachen Airfield, since it's in friendly hands, is probably a suitable divert field. It's right here. And yeah, it's on our way back to Y-29 here, so probably good to bear that in mind in the future when we're operating in this area. If we should happen to have some battle damage and need to divert, that would be a logical place to go. I am picking up a signal on the Bendix ADF, so I'm just homing directly in on that to make our way back to Y-29. So should be no navigational difficulties, and we should be back there shortly. Okie dokie, welcome home. That is Y-29 heaving into view over there. I'm just going to cross over the field and see if I can spot a windsock to see what the wind is doing before I slot in to join the circuit. Throttle back a bit, I don't really need the excess speed as I'm coming to land here, so that's no biggie. So, can I see a sock? I mean, these days, there are standard layouts for runways and windsocks, so you kind of know where to look, but I don't think that was really the case in World War II, so just kind of have to search for it. Oh. There. We've got a quartering crosswind, but it's favoring landing, well, you can see what it's favoring. There's no runway number, but it's the one that runs from, let's see, the one that points northeast, let's put it that way. So anyway, joining the downwind, do a quick downwind check, mixture, auto-rich, prop full forward, and power can come back. I've actually probably got a little more speed than I need. That prop setting back into max continuous, actually, just so that it's not super duper oversped. Turbo is all the way off. I never really touched it on this mission because, again, we just weren't flying high enough to need it. Okay, now speed's starting to come back, so I'll get the gear out. Probably set flaps to about 20 on the base leg, and then down to full once we roll out onto final. Maintain about 150 miles an hour for now, slowing to closer to 100 on final. I think everything looks good. We're not too high or anything. I guess I can put my lights on. Be the proper thing to do. Little bit of excess speed there, let it come on back, and now that we're rolling out onto final, we'll extend full flap.
This is Ted. Chieftain, requesting landing approach. Over.
Chieftain, proceed.
Chieftain, roger. Break off and land individually.
Interesting.
Requesting landing clearance.
Over. Chieftain, affirmative. Cleared to land.
Okay, I'm cleared to land. Well, I will take that as an excuse not to worry too much about where everyone else is, although I'll still keep my eyes peeled. Those who watched my Heinkel 111 career will remember all of the looniness that happened with the AI in the circuit. I don't know if fighters are as prone to that. I do actually have an option enabled in Pat Wilson's campaign generator to not count pilot losses due to things like that. It's a setting amusingly called Save the AI from itself. I landed too fast there, so we bounced. A little bit slovenly, but oh well, survivable. But yeah, the setting Save the AI from itself will not count losses to incidents like that, and only count aircraft that were actually down by enemy action. Which is, in some ways, not necessarily realistic, because loss rates to flying accidents in World War II were actually pretty horrifically high. But anyway, I'll unlock the tail wheel and clear the runway. And honestly, I'm just going to clear off to the side at random and shut down. I'm not going to bother trying to find a specific parking place. Maybe I'll work on that for future missions, but not really much of a concern right now. I guess I can go at least sort of over here where these camouflage nets are. That's probably a fairly realistic place to shut down. Cutting the corner through the snow probably isn't a very good idea. I'm wondering a little bit about the efficacy, at least in real life, of flying in weather like this and whether it would have actually been done, because this kind of looks like icing conditions to me, but that's not really simulated in IL-2, so I guess we don't need to worry about it. Well, I'll just roll up in front of one of these camouflage nets here and shut down. Not. I'll try not to clip it with my wingtip in case the wingtip is bigger than I think it is. Engine's overcooled. Yeah, that's not terribly surprising. I probably could have shut things like the oil radiator, but whatever. We made it back unscathed, so we'll call that a fairly successful mission, and I will see you in the debriefing. So here we are in the PWCG UI, and we're going to do our combat report and debriefing here. So this is the briefing going into the mission. Obviously, you know, attack transport and road facilities near Bonn. So clearly I should have actually bombed that bridge, but oh well. I'm not going to claim any air-to-air victories, and there's no need to do anything manually for air-to-ground stuff. So we can go straight into the debriefing. So, start that up. One of our escorts apparently crashed, probably in a takeoff accident. Our fighter escort did indeed engage some German fighters, and one of them shot down a 109. So good job, guys. And apparently some other US fighters tangled with some other 109s as well. So, yeah, one member of our flight was shot down and killed by anti-aircraft fire, so that was number 4 who disappeared there. I didn't see him go in, but it'll probably be in the replay somewhere. Anyway, one of ours destroyed a half-track. He also got a truck. And then, let's see, how far does this go? It's not counting anything that I strafed down there. I'm not sure why that is, but anyway, he destroyed some vehicles. A 109 was shot down by an anti-aircraft gun somewhere, so that's kind of interesting. And yeah, Lieutenant Derek Hernandez was seriously wounded after being hit by flak. But seems to have survived, so that's okay. The replay will once again reveal exactly what happened there. And yeah, not showing any of those vehicles that I strafed. Not sure why that is, but debrief completed, I guess. Yeah, so that was a little bit bloody. We had one guy killed and one seriously wounded, both to flak, so that tells us a little bit about the dangers of these things happening at low altitude. Gee, I can edit the narrative. Strafed 2 trucks in Bonn west of the river. I'll leave out the part where I drop my bombs on someone's house. Next page of the debrief. Yeah, regret to inform that Captain James Jackson has been killed in action. And, yeah, well, again, all that. We know that that's, and Lieutenant Hernandez has been seriously wounded and will not be available for an extended period of time, so... Yeah, that went a little bit unpleasantly. Really. He's been awarded the Purple Heart, naturally, because he was wounded. And yeah, that's our debriefing items completed. Not sure why it didn't count those trucks that I strafed, but, oh well, I guess I can live with that. And we'll call that finished, and it'll go back to the main campaign screen. So that will be it for now. Lieutenant Lynx has completed his first mission. Not officially credited with any ground kills, even though he should be. But anyway, I'll be back with the next mission, hopefully in better weather, reasonably soon. Toodles.